Let's look at sufficiency. When we're dealing with sufficiency, we're looking at 0.1 to 2% of dry weight, which means that it's not that much compared to some of the other materials. It is not a tiny amount. Here's one of the interesting things, is there's really an interdependency between nitrogen and sulfur of about 20 to 1. We said that there was a nitrogen-carbon interdependency, which was about 20 to 25 to 1. In here, you want your nitrogen to sulfur ratio to be approximately 20 to 1. In the plant, 70% of the sulfur is found in cysteine and methionine residues, which means once these things are made, they're held in and they are used by the plant. They can be trans-sulfurated by moving the sulfur from point A to point B. You have this pool of cysteine, methionine that are very important inside of the plant. Sulfur is also very important in seeds. The seed serves as a primary source of nutrients. They've figured out that small seeded crops, it is less critical than on large seeded crops. The bigger the seed on the crop, the more critical it is to get the sulfur in there and make sure that you've got a sufficient amount of sulfur. In general, grasses have lower sulfur contents than do dicots. We think of grasses as having a lower demand for sulfur than dicots. Deficiency symptoms. Deficiency is basically noted as a banded chlorosis between the veins. On plants, you will see a striping when you've got a sulfur type deficiency. Secondary symptoms of a severe sulfur type deficiency actually give you a reddish purple color, which is a little bit different than we might expect. Sulfur deficiency is more pronounced under high nitrogen. You apply a lot of nitrogen without much sulfur, you're going to get a sulfur deficiency. You're going to see things that are going to come back as a sulfur deficiency. You might look at it and go, wait a second, that almost looks like a kind of nitrogen deficiency because we're getting chlorosis. But in reality, you apply too much nitrogen without the proper balance between the nitrogen and the sulfur, and you are going to have a problem with a deficiency. Nitrogen to sulfur ratio is a good indicator of the deficiency. If you check your nitrogen and your sulfur in your plant material and you're over 20 to 1 nitrogen, chances are you got a sulfur deficiency. In inorganic soils, you must have a sufficient amount of sulfur in the soil to make sure that it's still functional. This shows you a nitrate concentration of the leaves going up, total sulfur content of the leaves going down. You see an inverse relation between them where increase in nitrogen decreases sulfur, decreased nitrogen increases sulfur. This is a very important concept to be able to gather. This is a picture with your banded chlorosis in there. You can see on the youngest leaf that you've got this banding pattern, and you can see on some of the older leaves how it's kind of becoming a brownish coloration. Whenever we deal with sulfur, we always have to talk about luxury consumption. A lot of these plants are going to luxury consume. When they do luxury consume, you store that material in the organic matter. It is released later on. Secondary sulfur compounds can be accumulated. These would often be in the form of amino acids. They know of over 10,000 different secondary sulfur compounds that have been accumulated in plants. Some of these may have nutritional value. They could even have an anti-nutritional value. Nutritional value means it's going to help you out. Anti-nutritional value means it's actually going to suppress anything you get out of these tissues. 80% of the sulfur in allium, onion, is secondary.